right, hey, guess what? This is a live coverage, and it's in response to the many lies uttered by Irfan Ali and his gang out there in Linden. So do share the link. I know it's a spontaneous something, but we must be able to respond to the lies, to many, many lies and barefaced lies by these vagabonds. We just heard that Irfan Ali was in, or still is in Linden, and he's allowed to, these vagabonds are allowed to walk into communities, and we just allow them to barge into communities, especially communities and towns that they have destroyed without any sort of protest, not even one man, one woman protesting to chase them out of the community and let them know that they're not wanted in Linden. They might be wanted, yes, but not in Linden. Wanted by maybe some international law enforcement agencies, but not in Linden. So do spread the word, share the link that we are live right now. We have a lot of things we want to say to you to counter those many lies, many lies. And I hope you guys can share the link to true Lindeners, not to individuals who were given $20,000, a little, what is it, a box of food and so forth to be right there in Linden to make up a crowd. And that's what it is, a rent a crowd, a make up a crowd. Most of the people that were at that so-called meeting or rally just concluded or in the process of being concluded out there in Linden by Irfan Ali are not from Linden. So if those folks, majority of them are not from Linden, how the heck they expect those Lindeners to believe them and to believe that Lindeners are actually supporting the PPP, when in fact that's a lie. That's a big lie. It's a huge lie. So guys, share the link and let folks know that we're on right now. Share it wide and far. This is not skin teeth matter. Local government elections around the corner, just 8 days to go. 8 days to go. The leadership of the coalition, APNU, PNC, because the AFC have dropped out. They said they're not contesting local government elections. Don't know why. They just say they're not contesting. The other small, very smaller parties have asked people not to go out and vote. And it's a bunch of confusion that's happening. But we still got to be thankful for the few MPs who are going around the country right now. And I got to give them credit. They're going around the country. And I like it. I'm getting to like this sort of excursion. They're going around the country and they're doing their bits. But we need to see the leadership, the collective leadership, not just one man or whatever, leadership. What happened to all those other folks at the central executive? Where is Gary Best and all these other folks? Why is it that they're not out there campaigning? Why is it that we're not seeing the rally? We need to see some rallies too. We can't have Irfan Ali presumptuously walk into Linden and feel as he can get rally, that he can get some people. Many of them went in with buses and boats and taxis and all these different things. But hey, guess what? We will return shortly. We will return shortly. Share the link and let folks know that we're on live. Got to respond to Irfan Ali and their lies.
Right across Ghana, when the ministers of Granger or Nagamutu come here after the 21st of March, you say to them, walk behind them, chase them out, they're going to be illegal. Say to them, you're illegal. Free up the country, you're undemocratic. They're going to face a different situation right across the country.
Mr. Watts, he's armed himself. Shots. Watch it. Tear gas. Live rounds. Also, I can see that.
But since my cousin there is no you come on the East Coast.
You listen to me.
Right? No, you come to the East Coast.
You listen to me now.
You gotta listen to me too, man.
I am listening to you.
All right, you see, what is happening there is the evidence that these folks, Irfan Ali and his gang, do not care. They're going to rush in. They're going to rush in to Stronghold, PNC Stronghold, and they're going to attempt to brainwash the public into believing that there's scores of people who are actually wearing their red T-shirts and so forth and so on. That's a myth. That's a myth. If folks from Linden can attest to the fact that that so-called crowd that you saw there in Linden are not, majority of them are not Lindeners. And all of the candidates that you see there are not individuals who are community minded. They haven't done anything for the community. They don't know what they're doing. Basically, it's a waste of time to vote for those individuals. Irfan Ali did say that come on, guys, when I'm on air, a lot of people seem to be distracting. So basically, what happens is the majority of or these so-called candidates for the PPP are not known within the community. Many of them are basically flat-foot hustlers. That's what they are about. They are flat-foot hustlers. Nothing more, nothing less. Flat-foot hustlers. All right, so some of the things that Irfan Ali actually said in Linden makes, or most or all, makes no sense. None whatsoever. Makes no sense. Absolutely none. And so it is important that we respond and we remind individuals. Look, let's remind individual about the PPP. Let's remind Irfan Ali, just in case he forgot. We need to remind him, and we need to remind Lindeners. And I ask of you right now to kindly tag your Lindeners relatives. If you're not in Linden, tag your friends in Linden, and let us just talk and remind folks as to how brutal Linden has been over the past 20-something years, that they have ignored, they've tried to punish, they've tried to basically victimize the entire town. They have attempted to victimize the entire region that is the PPP. Now, don't worry, because they are giving a little gun license to their friends and their cronies now, who suddenly, if you notice this guy here now, what can he do for Lindeners? What can he do for Lindeners? That's a question. What exactly can he do? And you see the caliber of individuals that they're rounding up now, basically flat-foot hustlers, in order to intimidate the township, in order to commit whatever it is that they want to, and hijack this the town of Linden. Lindeners, you must stand up and fight back with your vote. You have to stand up and fight back with your vote. As you do that, you're doing it in the name of these individuals, these three persons, and others who were injured. Remember the names, and remember that the PPP, not the opposition, not the coalition, not the PNC or whatever, they didn't cause this. It is the PPP that went out there, and under the PPP, the police murdered these individuals, murdered them. Let me just acknowledge a lot of you who are joining here. I know it's it's Saturday afternoon. We see a bunch of you that are on, Ivan, right? And we see Maxine, we see A bunch of you guys. I'm John. Share the link, guys, please. Fiona Anthony has said earlier that she wasn't hearing. There was no sound. I hope it's okay now, Fiona. Share the link, guys. You guys are just not here. It's not a beauty pageant, right? So thank you so much for sharing the link. Judge Shishi, good night. It's probably good morning where Judge Shishi is in London. Share the link on your page, Judge Shishi. Thank you so much. Share the link on your platform, on your page. When you see the judge, you got to welcome the judge into our courtroom here this evening. So good evening to Judge Shishi. Good evening to Hyson Jones and all the other folks. We see Morna, Grandma Morna. That's Gary Greenidge. Share the link, Gary. If there are MPs who are watching, well, the MPs don't share our link here at all. Ganesh comes on this show a lot. Ganesh has never shared our link, only when he's on. That's when he shares it, right? Bernadette Duncan, good evening. All of you guys, I'm going to wait until all of you share the link. Don't be afraid. Share the link. So now let's get back to these three persons. And I hope Irfan Ali is now taking a look at these three persons: Ron Somerset, Shemroy Boye, Alan Lewis. Londoners, you cannot sit back and allow the PPP to take control of the township. This would be a total disrespect for the sacrifices made by these individuals, albeit they were going about their business in a very peaceful manner, but they were shot and they were killed. They were murdered under the PPP regime. Yes, murdered under the PPP regime. Murdered under the PPP regime. But now, about, 10 years after, or just about 9 or so years after, the PPP is heading into Linden, telling Lindeners that they so care about them that they want to do their roads, they want to do their bridge, all of these things, mind you, they didn't do for the 26 years they have been in office. 23 plus, and now the 3 that they have been in office. They didn't care about Lindeners. Note one thing about Irfan Ali's speech. One thing about his speech, he has never apologized for the PPP for what they have done to that township. The other thing that you haven't heard, and you're not going to hear, it's about the bauxite workers. Have you heard Irfan mention anything or show some sort of respect for bauxite workers? Nope. Unless I missed it. Absolutely nothing. No respect for bauxite workers. You remember when a set of bauxite workers from Ituni, from Kokwani and Linden and so forth went to Georgetown in order to protest and so forth. A lot of them were beaten. A lot of them were shot at. Some folks were killed. And that's when they claimed that there was this conspiracy to overthrow the Jack Dale's government, a conspiracy that never existed, but they never acknowledged, they've never respected bauxite workers. Bauxite workers were beaten, they were terminated, about 60 plus of them under the PPP regime. And those people have never gotten their jobs back, they've never gotten any sort of compensation, nothing. Just the other day, another Linden died in a pit, I believe. No compensation that I'm aware of, nothing at all, no proper representation by the installed regime. But yet Irfan Ali goes into Linden, attempting to say to Lindeners that he cares. Come on, guys. Come on, Lindeners. Come on. We've got to do better than that. You cannot allow the PPPC on June 12th, 8 days from now, to take control of Linden. And this goes for Georgetown. But I will get to Georgetown maybe either today or maybe some other time very soon. But I just want to deal specifically with Linden. Specifically with Linden. Look at how the PPP destroyed the Linden Highway. All of the corners. You know the destruction of the Linden highways as a result of Jack Dale? As a result of Jack Dale through that fiber optic cable that ran all through from the interior. They cut across into Linden, straight down the Linden Highway. All of those, the parapets and so forth, the edge of the Linden Highway damaged as a result of Jack Dale, and that, what is it, the fiber optic cable, where billions of your money wasted, taxpayers' money wasted. You know what the billions of dollars could have done in terms of raising pensioners, little stipend that they receive, their pensions. The PPP never did that. They ignored pensioners. It was up until the coalition got into office that we saw that increase, all manner of things that we saw. And Lindeners want, the PPP wanted to take away the subsidy for electricity in Linden. Take that away. A fraction of what the bauxite sugar workers are getting, right? And at that time, the opposition kind of like misguided, and they thought that it was a good thing to do, but they withdrew that quickly. Any sort of support for the increase of electricity tariff in Linden. And that is why the people of Linden stood up. They stood up and they said, no, it is not going to happen. And because the people of Linden stood up and fought against the Ramotar's presidency, guess what happened? These three guys were shot and killed. They were murdered under the PPPC regime. Murdered. Remember this as you prepare to go out and vote. Don't ever allow the PPP to take control of Linden. So don't worry with this sweet talk. And then they're going to have a couple of those flatfoot hustlers, some of them arsonists, burned down their own house and all manner of things. And then they were part of the coalition, and because they couldn't get what they want, so they're flatfoot hustlers. And those are the ones who come out and they say, oh, we got to eat, and it's about develop. It's not about development, it's a hustle. They're gangsters. And how can you put gangsters to run your town? How? That's the question. Now, some of the candidates in the coalition might not be, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, they're better than the gangsters we see the PPP have put forward. The gangsters we see, the selfish ones that we see the PPP has put forward. Now, look, you've got to go out and vote in the names of these individuals. You've got to. Because you cannot let their sacrifices, you cannot let them go down in vain. In 2011, when the PPP campaigned in Linden, Ramotar, who was then the presidential candidate, promised the people of Linden 3,000+ jobs. 3,000 jobs. Donna Ramotar promised the people of Linden that 3,000 jobs. They're going to develop Linden. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. All manner of things. Take a look at Mackenzie Market. Take a look at Wisma Market. All these things they expect a city council, the municipality in Linden, to have the money, to find the money to do all those things. And so the central government deliberately starved the township of Linden. Don't worry with the pack of lies that the money goes back. They give crumbs to the people of Linden. And then they expect to take the crumbs and they want to dictate how the crumbs should be spent. So if the people had to take the crumbs to basically fix the roads, the PPP wanted the crumbs to do something else. And and they're not telling you this, in order for the municipality to spend, let's say, $5 million, the PPP had to take control of that and decide how that money should be spent. And that is why I suspect, mind you, that is why the municipality of Linden objected and rejected, and rightly so, what the PPP was attempting to do. So now if you, a central government, is going to allocate X, Y, or Z amount of money for a township, then they want to dictate what the mayor should do, what the deputy mayor should do, where they should buy Pampers, who they should buy Pampers from, where they should buy garbage bags, who they should buy garbage bags from. And you cannot run a municipality like that. And because the municipality, those who run the municipality rejected what the PPP was doing, the PPP is vexed, and they're going spreading propaganda, a sad story that how they send money and then the municipality do not use the money, because if they use the money, it's going to make the PPP look good. That's a sad story. That's a lie. All they want to do is to control. And I support the municipality in not allowing the PPP to control them with crumbs. You give them crumbs, you give them little sugar cake, and you want to tell them how to spend it, how to spend that. All right. And we are seeing a lot of you. We want to see on your pages or whatever. You don't have to put it as your display picture or whatever. Just put a green flag, something green. Urge your relatives, urge your family, urge your friends to go out on June 12th all across Linden. They have 8 constituencies, 16 seats, 8 constituencies. It simply means you vote directly, and then there's a PR for each constituency. You will see APNU, PNC. You will see the palm. Sorry about my hands. At least it's a little bigger than Trump. Sorry. Sometimes full of myself. But back to Linden. You've got to go out and vote. Ensure that your names are on the list. Don't wait till the last minute. Don't wait until the day, elections day, and then when you go out, you say, me name in on the list. And how come me name? You got to do it now. Be prepared now. Don't wait till the last minute. Do it now. You have 8 days. Thank you, Dorothy Prince. Call your friends, call your relatives. Just do exactly that. Call them now. If you don't have to share the link or whatever, call them now. Inbox them. Go on your platform. A lot of you got platforms. A lot of you got a lot of followers and a lot of following and a lot of people who watch you. Right? Judge Shishi, don't go live now. At least wait until I'm off. Go live maybe later tonight, maybe tomorrow. Call the people out to vote against the PPP regime. It should be a bunch of green stuff right now. Green, right now. We need to hear from Ramjatan. All these people should be coming out and urging the people to go out and vote for APNU, PNC. Go out and vote. Whatever else that we need to do, if there's any in-house fighting, put that on hold. Suspend it right now. Suspend the in-house fighting. Let us deal with the LGE now, and then after local government elections, right? But let us suspend all. Gloves off now, guys. 8 days to go. Gloves off now. 8 days. If you guys agree with me, right? 8 days to go. Gloves off now. 8 days to go. Gloves off now. Or if we're going to put the gloves on, it's to fight the PPP. And let us fight the PPP with smart campaigning and with your votes. That is how it has to happen. Right, Michelle Justice? Go in your group, Michelle, and share the link. Spread the message. Let's move on. So back to these guys that were murdered under the PPP regime as a result of the PPP. So these guys' blood is on the hands of the PPPC. So Irfan Ali cannot go to Linden and try to talk Jim Cockburn Ramgo's story and to pretend as though Lindeners haven't forgotten them. But here is a story I want to tell you guys. Here is what I want to tell you guys about these 3 guys. And I met all 3 of their relatives. And I think one of them, their mother died, and Alan Lewis and Shimroy Boyer and Ron Somerset, all of their relatives. And they were in tears. They were crying. The PPP didn't want to compensate their families. Not at all. But I'll tell you a story as to what the PPP did. Are you listening? Are you guys actually listening? Now, this is what the PPPC did. They had a commission of inquiry, a so-called commission of inquiry. And after the commission of inquiry, the PPP rounded up some of the family members and told them to turn up at office of the president to meet with Ramatar and others. And on this day, on the 3rd, 2013, they arrived at the office of the president. The victims, and as some of you can see here, it says, the victims and relatives of the dead Lindeners leaving office of the president yesterday after uplifting their compensation. Can you believe that? Look at that photograph. After uplifting their compensation. Oh gosh. After uplifting their compensation. So you know what? Some of you might say, well, the PPP compensated those guys, the relatives of those guys that were killed, that were murdered as a result of the PPPC. They were murdered as a result of the PPPC, as a result of the PPPC. Remember that, as a result of the PPPC, they were murdered. And when you guys go out to vote in Linden or wherever else, remember that. Remember. Okay? Remember that. Now, let's get back to the compensation. They were called in at the office of the president for compensation. They were called in. The PPP can say, oh, they compensated the family members. But I'll explain to you what happened. Are you ready? All right, good. You're ready, right? Look at the compensation. Let's take a look at the compensation. Let's take a breakdown. Now, this is the compensation. I'm not sure if you guys are hearing me loud and clear. If you are hearing me, just let me know, because I want to show you guys the compensation. We seem to be having some slight technical issues at this end, but are you guys hearing me? If you're hearing me, just let me know that you're hearing me and you are hearing me loud and clear. Thank you. Charlene, I honestly do believe Charlene is a robot. Is always on every program, whether it's this show, whether it's Judge Shishi, whether it's all the other shows. I don't know. But we seem to be having some slight issues at our end. So let's go back here now. So let's deal with the compensation. We're trying to get that up, and hopefully very soon we should have that up so that you guys can see. The compensation for these guys, it's going to shock you. It's going to shock you guys, the compensation. It's going to shock you guys. I want to get to the bottom of the compensation, but whatever is happening, I don't know. So let's try. We'll try one more time to get to the compensation. You've got to get, otherwise I'll just get it on my phone. The compensation. Are you guys ready? Sorry about that. We're not getting that particular clip to be up, so we just got to go straight to the phone. Now, let me give you guys the breakdown of the compensation for these guys. Now, the Commission of Inquiry had recommended $3 million. Ooh, wow, 3 million Guyana dollars. 3 million Guyana dollars to be paid to Alan Lewis. That's the guy on the right of the screen. $3 million be paid to Alan Lewis's family. $3 million. $3 million to Shemroy Boye in the middle, to his family, and $2 million to Ron Somerset. $2 million to his family. $2 million to Ron Somerset's family. $3 million to Shemroy Boye family, and Alan Lewis, $3 million. Now, do you guys know how much is $3 million in US currency? So these people who were slaughtered, who were murdered under the PPP regime as a result of the PPP, they were paid 15,000 US dollars as compensation under the PPPC. So that is what these guys' lives worth. 15,000 US. Alan Lewis family, 15,000 US. Shemroy Boye family, 15,000 US. And Ron Somerset's family, guess what? 10,000 US because of his age. Crumbs indeed. And not only that, so they invited the family members at office of the president. They must dress up, take minibus. Some of them take big bus. Some of them who couldn't afford that had to jump in. Who had a vehicle or maybe a taxi or whatever to take them to town because they were still grieving the deaths of their loved ones. And not only that, some 13 other persons who received injuries during the protest were awarded between 50,000 Guyana dollars, which is about 250 US dollars. 250 US dollars. They were beaten. Some of them got pellet bullets all across their back. You just name it. 50,000 Guyana dollars, equivalent to 250 US. 250 US. And that's between 50,000 and $1.5 million. That's another maybe 6,000 US. And that is what the PPPC did. But let me remind you about some lady out in Monrepo claimed that her Polari stand broke down, right? Her Polari stand broke down, and she got close to $1 million. One other guy claimed that his minibus that probably never worked since God in heaven knows when, and he got money, and everybody got money. Polari is valued more than the lives of those guys who were murdered under the PPP regime in Linden. Can you guys believe this? Now, if this is not sufficient to put your differences aside. We can deal with that after the local government elections, and we may very well deal with that after the local government elections in order to get it right for the upcoming general and regional elections, maybe in a year's time. But we've got to get this right. You cannot allow the PPP to take control. That's right. I see somebody say, Polari lady and Egbal lady, they Eggbals and they Polari worth more than the lives of these 3 young men who were killed. They were murdered under the PPP regime. And the PPP regime, they were ruthless back then. They didn't care what happened. They didn't give a damn about the Lindeners. They didn't. And some of those Lindeners, maybe 1 or 2 of them, who are now putting on the red T-shirts and all kind of thing, may have been in trouble. They probably could have been killed, including this guy. Maybe they could have been killed during that time. But no, they decide now to be selfish. Some of them decide now to be selfish and claiming that the PPP is so concerned, suddenly so concerned about Lindeners. The PPPC doesn't give a damn about Lindeners. And look at what happened back then. Look at how people had to. And again, we are just having some issues here, but hopefully it could be rectified. Yeah, and so we are still having some slight problems with some of our slides here to show you guys what really happened in Linden. Unfortunately, we can't show you that, but this is what we just decided that, hey, let's remind you guys. Let's remind you guys what the PPP did to Linden, just to remind you guys. But yet they're comfortable. And look, I haven't reminded you guys about the stealing of a seat in Region 10, where they stole the votes of the people of Linden, Ituni, and Kokwani. They are going into Kokwani too, you know. They are going into Kokwani, and they're going to tell the people in Kokwani a bunch of lies also. Lies. Be mindful, folks in Kokwani, be careful with those lies. They didn't do your roads. They don't have time with your schools. They don't have time with your playgrounds. Nothing. But now they're going to roll in big numbers, flag people in, bus people in, boat people in, to make it look as though they have a large crowd out there in Kokwani, and then make all of these promises. But ask them, what have they done over the past 26 years? Did they forget the people of Kokwani? Have they forgotten the people of Kokwani, just like they've forgotten the people of Linden? And they were vindictive towards the people of Linden, that they caused 3 persons to die in Linden and many others injured? Have they forgotten that? No, we've got to remind them. And so when they come and with their crocodile tears and pretending as though they care, the truth of the matter is they do not care. They just do not care. Now we need to see some rally as well by the opposition. All of them. Now is not the time to cry and try some of the smaller, tiny parties attempting to score political points and all this nonsense. Now is not the time for that. And then after the local government elections is done and the PPP is not in control of these townships, then they could go back into deciding when the PNC is going to have their Congress and whatever. They can go back into that. And prepare a strong team, a very, very strong team for the general and regional elections. We need to see that. But for now, let us focus on the local government elections, which is just 8 days away. Minerva Monroe, Reese, thank you. We've got to, lest we forget. We can't forget. I know, Minerva, you were there on the ground as well. You did your part. Kudos to you and all the others who risked their lives for a better Linden and, by extension, a better Guyana. Let me check some of your comments and see how you feel. Savitri Rose and Earl, Ciclin Earl and Brenda Billy. Take a look. Take a look, guys. Take a look. Look at the faces of these 3 guys as you prepare to go out and vote. I hope those of you who have a platform will speak and preach about this. I just thought to quickly, we're not getting some of the slides to play because you would have seen what the PPP did to the nurses and the other folks out there in Linden, and police brutality and all these sort of things. Morna Peterkin, former member of parliament. It's times like this we need troopers like Morna on the ground. Troopers like Morna on the ground. Morna says here, I know that everyone do have the right to choose, but at this time we have to choose wisely. The PPPC never liked Black people then, and they will never like them now. Well said. Well said, Morna Peterkin. Well said. I wish folks like Morna Peterkin was actually on the ground right now to join forces with the other few fighters there on the ground. And we know who those few fighters are. We salute those few fighters. We see some more folks are joining them now in heading out, heading around the, some of the townships. And so we say thank you to those folks. We say thank you to those who have been sleeping as well, but they're out now. I've noticed a group of them have joined up with the Chief Whip, who's out there now. Thank God he's out there now. And then we have the Attorney Senior Counsel, Roysdale Ford, who has been winning a heck of a lot of cases for the coalition. He is out there as well. And we need to see more folks. A few more of them are out there too, but we need to see more folks out there. We need to see some rally. If I had my way, there would have been a rally tomorrow in Linden, a huge rally to counter the lies of the PPP today. A huge rally, not a Zoom meeting, but a huge rally in Linden. A huge rally in Linden. We can do it. Don't underestimate the people out there. Don't underestimate the people out there. Don't underestimate a lot of people. Now, somebody's asking a question, Dorothy Prince. Mark, how come a lot of them running behind it? No, a lot of them, that's just optic. A lot of people aren't running. People basically, remember the PPP got billions of oil money now that they're using for campaign purpose, for buy votes and all these sort of things. That is what they're doing. And in a country such as Guyana, people want a little raise, and so people will take that raise. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean they're going to vote for the PPP. The other thing that the PPP is doing, they could possibly pull a 2020, where they rigged the elections in 2020, and that they're attempting again to rig the local government elections. And because they're creating this atmosphere where they're paying people to wear red T-shirts to create this impression that a lot of people are actually supporting the PPP when in fact they're not. And so once they rig the elections, the local government elections, nobody would have anything to complain about because of that fake image that they have created. Don't let us keep our eyes off. Do not keep your eyes off GCOM, because the PPP may have already rigged the local government elections, with their friends at GCOM. But if you go out in your numbers, if thousands of you go out in your numbers, it will be impossible for them to get through with the rigging. It will be impossible. But if only a few of you go out, they can get away with the rigging. But if all 90% turnout that we have in Linden, in New Amsterdam, in Georgetown, in Lethem, well, for some reason the PNC is not contesting Lethem, but in Madhya and Bartik and so forth, you go out in your numbers, you've got to do it. You've got to do it, my friends. You've got to do it. Who in their right mind would listen to Irfan Ali? Who? Or the PPP? Look at those guys. Some of them are candidates out there. Just look at them. Who would trust their style of leadership? Who would trust them? It's all a bunch of hustlers. Who would trust them? Look, I've noticed that they're talking about Lane Avenue now. Lane Avenue, they finally, after 26 years, give the people a little patch road. No proper development, no proper system or policy in place. It's because it's elections time. They rush in there quickly rush in there to claim as though they're building roads, because elections, local government elections, is 8 days from now. 8 days from now. And some of them are talking about, somebody is some alleged child molester who probably went through the... Now, that person probably should not have been a candidate, if you ask me. But at the end of the day, the PPP is the last person to talk about that. Some of them get woman issues with abusing women. Some of them got issues with drugs, drug lords, money launderers, gold smugglers. All of these people declaring themselves candidates. Look at some of them are bandits who are candidates to the PPP. Thugs, but yet they're comfortable with that. They're comfortable with that, but they're talking about one guy in constituency 13. Again, should not, I don't know, the PNC should probably have gotten somebody else. But remember, there was an accusation leveled against the individual. Apparently was not convicted, matter thrown out or something like that. And now that becomes a moral issue for the PPP. But a man sits there as president, quote unquote, president of the country. And yes, some of them convicted drug dealers and all manner of things are candidates to the PPP. And these things are acceptable. Now, again, the guy in constituency 13 probably should not have been a candidate. Knowing the seriousness of that allegations, of course, he was never convicted. There was an issue back in 2016, yes. But at the end of the day, the PPP is not the one that should be talking about that. The PPP is not the one that should be talking. Look, they got pedophiles. They got, of course, child molesters, right? That's it. Child molesters. They got alleged rapists. They got a bunch of deportees, they got a bunch of drug lords, drug dealers, you name it, all these people, gold smugglers, money launderers. That's the PPP. A lot of their candidates, take a look. So they shouldn't be talking about these sort of things. They're the last person to be talking about those. And they expect people to go and vote for a party that has a minister that holds up a dildo in parliament and all these. Come on, guys, come on. A man with 19 fraud charges sits there as the president of that country, is talking about morality, is talking about development. He wants to use these people, use them. And then after local government elections, he's done with them. He's done, as long as they can use them. This is a testing period to use those people out in Linden, use them in New Amsterdam, use them in Georgetown. But they're not going to get through. They're just not going to get through. All right, guys. Let me see here. Our stuff is still not up. Okay. So here what? We've been on for almost an hour. Call your friends in Linden. Call your relatives in Linden. And if you are in Linden right now, be prepared to go out and vote on June 12th. Go out and vote on June 12th. This is how you strike back against the PPP and their lies. Do not let them take control of Linden, because cat eat your dinner. The same for New Amsterdam, the same for Georgetown. Stand up and fight back. Stand up and fight back with your votes. And Lindeners, when you go out and vote, you got to go out and vote in honor of these three martyrs: Ron Somerset, Shemroy Boye, and Alan Lewis. You've got to do it for them. You've got to do it. You guys have struggled enough. You guys have gone through enough. And on June 12th, you'll say enough is enough. I thank you all for your time this evening. I'll be back hopefully tomorrow, but definitely I'll be back on Monday. I'll clear the way so somebody else can get their platform going. Maybe Judge Shishi's going to start on the judge's platform, or some other person going to start their platform. But remember, Lindeners, we love you. Don't fall for that trap. Don't fall for the lies tonight by Irfan Ali. Do not fall for it. And because of those lies, here it is. We want to give Irfan Ali the award right here on Straight Up. You guys know what that award is, right? You guys think he deserves that award? Well, if he deserves that award, then let me hear you say, yes, I'm not going to allow Lemon to give that reward to Irfan Ali unless you guys say, go ahead. We've got to get a go ahead. Rita Clark already says yes. All right, so here goes the award for Irfan the Lying Ali. And don't forget, spread the word. Your loved ones out in Linden, in Georgetown, in New Amsterdam, in Bartik and Madhya, and so forth will have to go out and vote. Go out and vote. And the folks out in Corriverton as well. We can't forget, we have Pastor Sugrim out there, Counselor Pastor Sugrim out there as well. And the folks out in New Amsterdam got to fight a good battle. Got to take on the PPPC. Ignore their lies. The development is not a favor they're doing. That is what they're there. That is what governments do. So to build a road in Laying Avenue is not a favor they're doing you. They make it look like a favor. They make it look like it's their money. They push their hand in their crutches and they're giving you their money. It's your money, guys, in Laying Avenue. It is your money. Do not be fooled. Do not be fooled. It is your money, your tax dollars. Every government, that is what they're supposed to do. It is their responsibility. So when they come to you in Laying Avenue or wherever they are in Linden, and instead of giving you money to clean drains and gutter, that is what they are supposed to do. They come and building a 2-inch road or whatever in Laying Avenue. It is what they are supposed to do. It is their responsibility. They're not doing you a favor, guys. No, when lights go into your community, it's not a favor. That is why they have billions of dollars. It is not Jagdev's money. It's not Irfan money. It's not Anil's money. It is not their money. It's not Ejel's money. It is your money. And they are entitled. They have to look after your roads. They have to fix stuff for you. But the sad thing is, a lot of them don't fix stuff for you, but they come around the elections time pretending that they want to fix stuff, pretending that they like you. And a lot of them, or all of them, they steal your money. How you think they live in big fancy houses and all these things, drive fancy cars? It's your money. They steal your money. Come on, guys. I got to go. But guess what? Go on your different platforms, spread the message, spread the word. This is how it's got to be. When you vote in Linden, remember these three guys. Go out and vote in all 8 constituencies in Linden and beat the PPPC. Beat them. Licks like peas. Don't let the arsonists and all these people go and talk about how they care. They're arsonists. Some of them are arsonists. We know who they are. They burn their own house down, and it's the APNU. Rescue them. Rescue them with donation, and they rob the APNU people, and now some of them wearing red t-shirt talking nonsense about the coalition. Those goddamn arsonists. But we got to remember these 3 guys on the screen. They're martyrs. They are martyrs. PPP blood on their hands. PPP murdered these guys. And the PPP cannot take control of Linden. I've got to go. Enough said on that. You guys have a great rest of the Saturday evening. And I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow, or if not, definitely on Monday. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless you.